Today we are building new arrows. So over the weekend, I shot a 3D tournament and didn't do so well. So actually scored really well. I just ended up breaking a bunch of arrows. So I already had these on the way. These are the Victory HLRs Elites in 250 spine. Brand new, sealed up. Open them up, show you guys quick little process how to build arrows. Not gonna be super in depth. There's 1.5 million videos out there on how to build arrows, but show you kind of my take on everything. So as you get your arrows, this is what you'll see. These are a dozen arrows, right? So they're going to be all spine aligned, all grain to match the average grain. So on the back here, labels right here, it says 280 grains. So that's the average weight per shaft. So when you're going through and if I go and buy another dozen, that's what I'm gonna look for to make sure I can have match weight arrows. One of the first steps is pulling out all the nocks, because when you're doing your cuts, you don't want to have the nocks in there. You're going to have it flush up against the carbon. All right, so now that we pulled out all of our nocks, got 12 fancy little IPP nocks over here. Pull them all out. Obviously I have all 12 of my spines laid out. Got the Mod Saw arrow saw, and it's always set for 28. Take one of my old arrows, it slides in there, and then the blade lines up perfectly at 28.5 inches. So now I know where my cuts are going to be. Cutting off about that much. Yeah, one of the things I love most about this arrow saw is how quiet it is. So a super quiet arrow saw, not screaming. Vacuum is going to be going way louder than what the arrow saw is, so I'll edit this audio out. So how easy it is to cut up 12 shafts right there. Another thing that I like to do is just take a silver marker or a silver Sharpie, and then just on the end of the arrows, I'll go through and just put a little silver mark on the end, like so. I do both sides because from what I've heard and the research I've done, it is important to square up both sides. So you do the knock side and you do the insert side. I'll go through, do that on all 12 of my shafts, and then when you're squaring them, you know it's perfectly going to be square. So little kind of helpful hint, tools of the trade, stuff you can learn. You don't have to do it. I think it makes it a little bit easier just to verify, hey, everything is square, and that you got just a little bit of carbon off. Squaring both sides too. Just make sure, obviously, that the arrow is super square, and if that's even a term. But it can't hurt. So your knock sits in there square to the arrow. Your insert is going to sit in there square to the arrow. Definitely not going to hurt anything. So if you're making your own archery bench, kind of like what I have here, I would recommend too that you put your arrow saw or your tools further into the table. You don't want them right on the edge, and one thing that helps you out with is if you're not the brightest guy, like I am, I'll put my arrow shafts on one side of my arrow saw, and then as I'm going through and making these, you make cuts or make adjustments or anything like that, you just put it on the other side. So here's the side without the done markings. This will be the side with the markings finished. All right, the next thing, after you cut, is squaring. I'm just gonna move these rollers a little bit closer together. It helps me when I'm squaring the arrows. Keep everything a little bit closer. Wife gets pissed about all the carbon on the ground, but what can you do, you know what I'm saying? All right, simple squaring the arrows. All you gotta do it doesn't take very much. As you can see, that silver mark is gone now on both sides of the shafts. So now I know the arrow's square and it goes in the done pile. So next thing I usually do after this is I'll go through and I'll sort them 1 to 12 by weight. Then we'll weigh the inserts, we'll weigh the field points, and then we'll weigh broadheads as well. So because I do have my broadheads finally here. So go through, organize them all by weight, and then that way we can go through and match up lowest weight of shaft to highest weight of insert, and then everything kind of just falls in between. That's how you get match grade arrows. So you just go through. .249.4. We're sticking out. I like to do the sticky note way because you're gonna have a couple that like. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is why we do everything the way that we do. We're at 400.9 with the broadhead, 401.2. Oh, that one doesn't have a field point on it. 401.1, 400.9, 401.1, 401.2, 401.1, 401.1. 400.9, 400.9, 401.1. All right, so as you guys just saw, we just weighed all these arrow shafts with the field points in, and then I weighed one with my broadhead, and we are all within 0.6 grains of each other. So next thing we're gonna do is prep the arrow shaft. So I like to use the AAE arrow wipes. Easiest thing about these is boom, there's your arrow wipe. Open everything up. I always put a paper towel down, as you can see right here, just for knowing like which ones are clean. And then all you have to do is wipe the back end, like the wrap, and the veins are gonna go. So, all right, so I had my little baggie full of my Adams Precision Archery. So these are the ones that, these are the wraps that I have on there currently. It's Bigfoot with the little knock-on logo holding the American flag. So got 3 more of these left to use. I'm gonna do obviously 3 with those. And then I got my El Presidente ones. So good old Donald Trump in the White House. We're gonna do most of them with those. So what is that, 6, 9, 12. And then these are the hunting ones. I gotta buy, I think, probably do another dozen around June, July timeframe. We got the Doc Holliday from Tombstone and the Say When. But these are gonna be my hunting ones. So once I get my hunting arrows in and I'm building out those, I'll throw these wraps on there. I may stick with these Victory HLRs for hunting, or I might go to the VAP TKOs. I don't really know yet, to be honest. Kind of having an issue with these arrows, which we'll cover later. Yeah, something I found out at the 3D shoot about the arrows is being a 1.5K weave, they're not really as strong as I'd like them to be for hunting. So we may shoot VAP TKOs. When I say that, I mean we probably are going to shoot VAP TKOs for hunting. Is what it is. These are great target arrows. I like them. They're honestly sweet arrows, but I just don't know if they hold the toughness that I'm looking for a hunting arrow. All right, then here's the wrapping process. I'm kind of anal about how everything goes on. So what I always do, and it's probably not the right thing to do, but it works for me. So make sure this logo is on the bottom. So you got the logo on the bottom. Lays flat, the arrow is facing a spinal line. Go down here. Wrap it. Boom. And there's your wrap. All you do is you put it in your hand, heat it up, make sure the glue sticks. One arrow wrapped. Well, now that we have all of our sweet wraps on our arrows, I'm just gonna take this same arrow wipe that I was using. I'm just gonna wipe off all of the wraps to make sure that the faces of the wraps are clean and ready for the fletching. All right, so now we got the Blitzenberger jig out and we're just gonna fletch these up. I'm using a left helical. That's what my bow knocks to, so I did the knock testing. It liked the left helical. Apparently this dried up. So I'm just sticking with the left helical. No reason to change it. Most of these arrows, like I was saying, are not going to be, there's target arrows, they're not going to be steering broadheads. So using the little tiny AAE Hybrid 23 vanes, perfect for what I need them to do. You gotta let it dry a little bit. I always mess that up too. I always end up pulling the arrow out a little bit. When I pull this off, the arrow slides up. So just make sure you are resetting your arrows. Then next thing you're gonna do is just go through with a Q-tip and get all that excess glue off. So I use one to move all the glue off the vanes, and I'll use another one to just clean up the bottom down here. Awesome. There we go. Just like that, red, white, and blue. America, baby. Give this a little spin test, and did not realize that was my broadhead. But yeah, I'll give this a little spin test and make sure everything's good, and then we'll fletch the rest of them. All right, guys, well, that's how I'm building my arrows inside my garage. Easy day. Boom, look at those sick broadheads. All right, guys, well, if you want to see more of this, go ahead, like, subscribe, drop a comment, how you do it, what's your grain weight. I am kind of curious. I'm shooting 29-inch draw at 72 pounds currently. What grain weight are you shooting? What's your arrow spine? What's your preferred go-to arrows? Like I said, these are the new Victory HLRs, right? Elite 204 arrows. I haven't had a bad chance with, or a bad try with them yet. Running into some issues, but I think every arrow has their issue, to be honest. So what are you guys shooting? Get it out in the field, shoot your bows, like, subscribe, follow along. Catch you guys on the next one.